Oh, I'm sorry, Rio.
So that brings us to the last part of our podcast, and that is the piece that we like to call the shuffle. And the shuffle is very simple out there in podcast land. You go to your phone, you find a playlist, you hit shuffle on said playlist, and the first song that pops up, we're going to discuss it, and usually the person whose playlist it is the one who knows more about it or about that artist. Sometimes it's somebody else on the panel, and we're going to start with, because she's had little to say this time, we're going to have our first shuffle done by the anonymous female.
Okay.
Now tune to
I'm smiling right now, podcasters.
So that is Randy. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
That is the Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys Intergalactic. My cousin, one of the members of the Loft Party crew, Tribal Love, I'll give you his artist and graffiti tag name, Tribal Love. He is a massive Beastie Boys fan, and I know if he is listening to the podcast, he is going, yeah.
I used to listen to, well, it's kind of funny because I used to listen to, Beastie Boys on my way down, my former years, down in, when we'd go down to the lake or whatever, and it's kind of carried over both of my kids absolutely love them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like the Beastie Boys. I mean, it's, you talk about the funny thing is, you talk about a group that, when you talk about the days of, of hip hop where, people are supposed to be so lyrically amazing and whatever. Talk about a group that really wasn't lyrically amazing, but they made great fucking records.
Yeah.
I mean, their catalog is so classic. You gotta love it. So, Lane.
All right. I just got a new phone and it's telling me to connect to. I can't play right now. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, what were you trying to play?
Oh, I just hit the shuffle button and Janis Joplin's Ball and Chain came up.
Oh,
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Lane's having phone difficulties, but his
Yeah.
shuffle was going to be Janis Joplin's Ball and Chain, which, of course,
You can just hear the pain in her voice.
I was just going to say, you got to love Janis Joplin. Just like you say, the pain and the tension in her voice, and some iconic songs, and like I say, just beyond the songs themselves, just her voice was so iconic, and and you gotta love Janis Joplin, which I suppose brings the shuffle to me.
Yeah.
And let's see what comes up.
radio killer. Big Snoop deal, the American dream.
Snoop.
Hey, your nephew. Won't you come
This would be
with
Snoop,
the kids
yes.
and sing a little something for the ladies? You gonna jump up? Let them know how we feeling right now.
That sounds like The Dream.
And that is Snoop Dogg featuring The Dream, as you said. The song's called Gangsta Love, and I'm trying to remember what album this was from, but this was it's one of his later albums, but just a huge fan of Snoop from you know, from his, you know, earlier days with Dr. Dre and Death Row, and
Sure.
and actually everything that he's done after. You know, he's an interesting artist because, you know, he's one of the few that has been able to, you know, really transition as time moves forward and still really make, you know, relevant music. You know, and I think, you know, kind of getting back to the kind of the, you know, hip hop discussion, you know, I think to me that's more of what I'm looking for now. Not necessarily artists that, you know, not necessarily artists that, you know, are, you know, the most, you know, lyrically, you know, amazing, but, you know, people that can make really good songs and, you know, can adapt to the times as they move forward, and still remain relevant. I mean, if you think about, you know, I want to say Doggy Style. Oh yeah. That was from the 2009 Malice in Wonderland album.
Sure.
But you know, people. You know, I think people, you know, discount some of these artists, but, you know, I think the ability to stay relevant, and especially in the music business.
For over 25 years.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, because I think, you know, I think the Doggy Style album, if I'm not mistaken, was 93 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, I mean, to be able to stay relevant for that length of time, and have a new generation, you know,
Discover you?
Yeah, discover you and embrace you, and, you know, very few artists, you know, which goes me back to that, you know, like 10 out of 1,000. I mean, you know, you have very few artists that, you know, are able to do that, and, you know, I have to say, you know, Snoop is definitely, you know, one of those artists. As a matter of fact, not only, you know, come from that era and still make relevant music, but you know, to kind of really come from being a true kind of gangster rapper to kind of being a ubiquitous household name.
Yeah.
You know, in Middle America is that's an accomplishment in all to itself. You know.
He should be a case study in Harvard Business School.
You know, I fully agree with you. You know, which I do suppose, and I am having a ball, but I do suppose that brings us to the most inevitable part of the podcast, and that is the end. And with the end, we always end the same way, and that is with the toast that kind of began all of this for me, and that toast is to good times with good people.
There you go.